depending on what kind of person you are, this might be the coolest or the weirdest thing in the world for you. This is the Mercedes-Benz Renntransporter. The Renntransporter was Mercedes-Benz specialized car transporter throughout the 1950s and 60s, carrying beautiful cars such as the Mercedes-Benz 196 and the 300 SL Gullwing. And it not only carried the Gullwing, but it had the same heart as the 300 SL. The same straight six, 220 horsepower engine was fitted in this transporter. Its whole idea was to go fast, and it was marketed, even written on the side, that it went up to 105 miles per hour. It said that Mercedes designed this so that it could work on its cars from its home factories in Germany. Most of the racing was done in Europe in the 1950s and 1960s, so developing this transporter, if anything was wrong with the cars that required them to be shipped home, they would throw them on the transporter and fly overnight back to Germany, fix them at the home factories, and then head back for the next day, 105 miles an hour down the Autobahn. Of course, with the 1955 Le Mans tragedy, Mercedes-Benz more or less pulled out of auto racing, and this transporter was apparently scrapped in 1967. The transporter was a beloved vehicle by many fans. I think its outlandish looks or very unique profile make it one that really sticks out in photographs from the time. Mercedes have since created a full recreation of the vehicle being housed in a museum today, and I believe there's actually a second one of these recreations owned by Jay Leno these days. So recently this became available for Assetto Corsa, and I'd seen some pictures of it as it was being created, and naturally I was wondering how it would drive. The driver position is actually in front of the front axle, as you can see there. You're actually overhanging on the front. The weight distribution is built to have a heavy car on the back and spread things out evenly. So I figured no place would be better to try out this car, well, this transporter, than the Nürburgring itself. Taking a little bit of a page out of everybody's favorite sim racer, Gone Real Racer, how fast can the Mercedes-Benz Renntransporter go around the Nordschleife? Alright, so here we are in the cab of the transporter, and it looks like a truck really, but if you look behind you, you have the nice light of the 300 SL. So quite a bit different. Have to remember I'm sitting in front of the axle here, so turning around tighter corners at the Nürburgring, have to make sure it's almost like driving a semi-truck or something with a trailer behind you. Have to make sure you pivot at the right angle. So we're here at the Nordschleife, gonna do a lap sitting right before the final chicane. This is the classic version of the Nürburgring, so figured it was nice to go period correct and race around a 1960s Nordschleife. So let's get started with this, try to do a lap. We'll come through the chicane here towards the end of the lap and bogging down. It's a little bit uphill here, so we'll get it off from a standing start. And overall, it's a little sluggish, honestly. It's a heavy car, so it's honestly going to be quick in a straight line once you get going, but it's a little slow around the corners. Not sure what you'd expect. Alright, but get through the final chicane and come out to the start-finish line. This is, of course, 1960s, so there's no circuit yet. There's no Grand Prix circuit here. It's just the Rennschleife, I think is what it was called. A little loop. We'll come across the line, start the lap in the Mercedes-Benz Transporter. Head down towards the first corner. Going to keep it in third gear here. Fourth, really only reserved for the very, very fast sections, but topping out pretty much 7,200 RPM. Come down to the first corner, we'll put it in second for this. We'll tip it on in, try to grab the apex as best I can. Head around, Südschleife goes off to the left there. We'll do the Nordschleife today. Nicely around the loop. You can drift this thing a little bit, but it's so weird with the wheels being behind you. In normal driving conditions, you don't notice it too much, but as soon as you get the car sideways, or the truck transporter, I don't know what to call it, as soon as you get it sideways, it behaves very differently from a normal automobile. But running down the straightaway here, we'll come up to this left-hander that'll put us onto the Nordschleife proper. Quite a lot of camber in this corner. We should be able to take it reasonably fast. Second gear though, just pitch it on in. Slide a little bit wide. Camber will catch us. Come over the hill, head towards Hotzenbach here, and down the hill. Just really rev the engine. The 300 SL. Straight 6 would love it. All right, there we go. Third gear, head down the hill. Just nice and easy through this right-hander. Easy to overdo it on the exits. Ooh, gotta touch the dirt a little bit. I want to try to carry as much speed as I can, though, since accelerating doesn't seem to be the vehicle's forte. Right down to second gear. Float it on in. Like a boat. I think floating is appropriate for this automobile. Keep it in second here. Some left and rights. No safety really at the Nürburgring to speak of in these days. Just some nice hedges on the outsides to catch you if you decide to go a little wide. Not sure that would stop this vehicle though. All right, come over the top of Kilobacher Höhe. And down the hill towards the Flugplatz now. It bogs down so much when you get to fourth gear. Yeah, absolutely no air at the top. Still flat foot. Brave enough to go flat here through the right-handers. Trying to get her lined up. So we'll head the run now towards Arnberg. Over the top of the hill as we head downhill, maybe throw it into fourth here. You can see how much it bogs down getting up to fourth. Not an edible setup on this thing, so I don't think they would have thrown different gears in the transporter. You kind of have what you have. All right, we come over to the top. This is such a difficult corner. Whoa, easy to slide it. Put it down to third. And Arnberg here, deceptively tight. Down to second. Over revving a little bit. Ooh, back end getting a little loose. Nice drift though, healthy side angle on the tires. All right, we'll head down the hill then. Fourth gear once again. Just ease it through this section. Curious at the bottom of the hill if it's gonna bottom out. Catches you out quite easily. Just coast now a little bit. Oh, as we'll head up the hill. Third gear, tiptoe it in. Now down to second into Ardenauer Forst. Tight section. Hand over hand. Oh, a lot of force feedback, which is good on this vehicle. Makes it feel really heavy, substantial in your hands. But now flat out now, head up to a couple difficult left-handers. I'm curious in this transporter how this will be coming to the left. Get those front left tires into the dirt a little bit. Down to second once again, back it in. Ooh, rear end gets a little loose. A nice slide for the cameras. And now head down the hill. Once again. Try not to lock it up. Easy to run wide as the road falls away from you. Quite controllable, as you might be able to see. It's not out of control. It's a lot of power, but for a transporter like this, it's actually a pretty appropriate amount of power. Could definitely see how this would get up to a high speed down a long straight section like an Autobahn, but around a circuit like this, not quite the territory it was meant for, but a lot of fun. Definitely having a lot of fun with it. So much different than driving any kind of sports car or formula car. The weight is just something else. All right, but head now down such a tricky section of the circuit. Try not to overdo it. There's a wall on the outside. Oh, getting all crossed up under braking. All right, but there we go. Keep it in second up the hill. Things will bog down into Exmühle. A little bit of wheel spin there as the transporter gets light over some of the bumps. The road detail in this version of the circuit is immense. It really adds so much to it. a smooth track in its time, but compared to circuits these days, it just is obviously a very rough surface. Alright, but into Bergwerk. Second gear once again. This will come up to a really long, fast section, but all uphill, so it should be interesting to see how the transporter takes it. Quite slowly, I'm sure. This will not be the most tricky section. Third gear, nice and slow. Really doesn't pick up speed till around 6,000 RPM, but it seems like there's almost a 3,000 RPM split between shifting gears, which is quite a lot. With only 4 gears, though, you don't have a lot to change in the gearbox. Through the right-left chicane here. Not an issue at all for the transporter. Takes it like a champ. Now long left-hander, still flat out. I think I can make this one as well. A little bit of wheel into it. Oh, she bogs down a little bit. Third gear still. So I'll head up a steeper hill here. Hopefully it won't slow down too much. Still not quite slow enough to shift down a gear. Now come to the top of the hill. A brief lift of the throttle there. Maybe could have made it flat out. But now pointed straight. And a tighter right-hander coming up ahead. Put it in a second for this corner. Try to carry as much speed as possible. But now we'll head up the hill towards the carousel. And I'm going to try to take the carousel. It might be a bad idea. But I feel like it wouldn't be a nice run at the Nürburgring without taking it. So we'll try to just settle her on in to the tight carousel. Ooh, very weird with the steering being behind you. You can see I'm almost hanging over the outside of it. But she took it quite well. All right, come under the banner there. Up the hill now and head into really what I think of as the final section of the course. But so far, very drivable. Just a couple sections that are a little difficult to negotiate with the car sliding, the transporter sliding. Oh, bogging down a little bit in third gear here at the top of the hill, but keeping my foot in it. It's actually got a lot of torque down in the rev range. All right, but there we go over the top of the hill. Just try to get a lot of speed out of the car, out of the transport here. Now, big hump in the track there that's been flattened out previously through YouTube corner. Oh, third gear bogging down so much. But try to keep the speed up. It's actually got so much torque, like I was saying, in the lower RPMs. It's actually a little bit better to keep it maybe in third than switching back to second. But over the top of the hill, track falls away. Back down once again. Try to slide it on through and get a little aggressive with the old transporter. All right, coming towards the end of the lap now. Just a few more corners to go before the long straight section. Oh, once again down the hill, you get that sinking feeling as you come over the rise. Quick right left over the top here. Easy to straight line that by accident. But she takes the corners so nicely. right into Schwebelschwanz to the right, over the bridge. Gonna come up now. It's a deceptively slow left-hander here. Catches all the new drivers out. A little bit of sparks there as we bottomed out. But now come to the second carousel. Smaller of the two. This one should be easier, I imagine. Just perfect through there. Get nice acceleration out. All right, up to third gear. Just a couple more corners now. Head onto the straightaway. Just need to maximize this. Get it down to second. All right, over the top of the hill. Up to third gear. Oh, and onto the straightaway. And as you'll notice, not so straight and easy to go through in this version. A lot of hills. You can see the Castle Nürburg there up in the top right. But we'll have to see how this lap is. Up to fourth gear, see if this will help at all. Just slow us down. We are still gaining RPM, so still gaining some speed. Over the rise, you'd get a little bit of air, actually, in some of the Grand Prix cars over this. There's some beautiful shots of the early 70s, and you can just see the Tyrrells coming over the top of the hills. Jackie Stewart, Francois Sever. Come to the end of the straightaway. Should be able to easily flat through this left-hander. Not a worry at all. And head to Tiergarten. Once again, to finish out the lap. Just need to spot the braking. The final hurdle in the lap. All right, get it down to third gear. Get it down to second. A little bit slow on the entry, but try to maximize the exit then. Ooh, drifting the truck through a little bit. Right up against the guardrails. We'll come out onto the straightaway. So getting the transporter around a lap at the Nürburgring, some may say it wasn't possible, but I've proved them otherwise. All right. So overall, the transporter was able to lap the Nürburgring in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. So not going to set any records. To put that in perspective, in 1967, during the Nürburgring 1,000 kilometer sports car race, Phil Hill and Mike Spence took the Chaparral 2F at an 8-minute 31. So quite a ways off, but a very quick transporter, I would think, although I don't have much to compare it to. Interesting car to look at in Assetto Corsa. Love the retro futurist style. I think it's one that's quite timeless and an interesting truck overall. So hope you enjoyed this. Kind of a wacky one, but an interesting one to try. I love all of these random cars and things coming out for Assetto Corsa. Endless fun to be had. So thank you for watching. I'm sure some of you could take this a bit quicker around the circuit, so let me know what your lap time is. But thank you for watching again. I'll see you all next time.